where we are now, it is a shift, a physical thing. It is something where we're in right now.
Yes.
Right? But the next that is being honoring. So for example, the crime rate that has been cut, the murder rate, right? That is a monument. Because we're going to honor it, we're going to remember it, because it's a great event in our history. But now the next step is to be monumental, which is really more of a larger scale. So it's an immense scale of enduring significance. And two part there, neighbor. Enduring mean it has to be continuous.
Yes.
It also has to be evolving and transformational. So you can't stay static as the monument which was before. And the significance is where you get to have and maintain the seat at the table. Because if you don't have any significance, if you can't add value, right? Because before, we were valuable, but not valued.
Yes.
And the thing about it is that when you're valuable,
amen,
you don't know it.
Yes.
Right? You don't get to be fully on the receiving end, which was what was happening with Jamaica. And to show that, for example, the sugar deal that we had with the UK, we were getting a little toops extra. So we thought we were valued. But the UK saw us valuable because they could have gotten a grade type of sugar for chum change, basically.
Yes.
But the thing with it is that leads into what we're being described. So everybody else can describe us. We don't get to technically choose that aspect of it. But where we are now, or rather where we're going, right? We want to be descriptive. And what I mean by that is when you're described, others get to define you, right? Whether that is on surface levels or otherwise. But when you're descriptive, it means you're now engaging the senses. And these senses that are being engaged are by significantly greater power in size, in financial strength, weaponry, tech, but at the same time, because you are valued.
My brother, man,
you are seen.
You're sounding like a brilliant Baptist preacher. I have my friend Terry from the PNP joining us. Can you not hold on for me? I'd like you to engage him, my friend Harry. Hold on for me. Let's keep this. Hold on, I'm coming back. All right, hold on. Listen to this. Listen to this, listeners.
Father God, and you alone can help me, me no sin no other one. And when me looking at me life and where me coming from, you realize that, and this I did the plan. So me have to read a couple Father God, and you alone can help me no sin no other one. And when me looking at me life and where me coming from, you realize that, and this I did the plan. So me have to read a couple Psalm, and you a keep me strong. Me have to stand firm in the arm of Gideon. To serve you is a pleasure, cause you make everything better, and you give me the strength to carry on. Still all my.
All right, that's my friend. No, sir, I tell you, 3 minutes to 10 o'clock, and if we're not on the at the table, we're at the menu. We if we're not at the table, we are on the menu. Let's go in. Good night to you, Comrade Perry. How are you doing, sir? Hello.
Good night, neighbor. Good night, Harry.
Congratulations on that song, sir. Congratulations, eh?
Thank you, man. It will be released on Sunday.
Yes, and let's play a little bit more of it.
Draw me little closer, Father God. And you alone can help me not sin no other one. And when me looking at me life and where me coming from, me realize that and this I did the plan. So me have the...
All right, that's your comrade friend there blasting out a little song. Is Mark Golin right it?
Oh, no, Mr. Neighbor. The Lord has blessed me with some talents, you know.
Yes. Well, congratulations, sir.
Yes.
And it sounds reasonable. But I have Harry with me. Harry?
Neighbor.
Yes, yeah. Perry's on. Talk to him.
Hey, Mr. Perry. I see you in the comment section, you know. Share your perspective on I like to hear it, you know. I want to hear the alternative views and so on.
I agree with Neighbor, you know. I agree with Neighbor that it's time for us to take off the orange shirt. And I will extend the conversation that it is also time to take off the green shirts too. I believe in choosing Jamaica, we have to be objective. And I think if we can put party politics aside, then I think we will see that we're all fighting for the same thing. And I'm speaking for myself, Harry. I think I am fighting for a Jamaica where we can bridge the political gaps and understand that, you see, this fighting against each other, it's not really going to bring us any good. So I agree with Neighbor. Neighbor, I agree with you. It's time to put down the color thing and want better for Jamaica.
And to stay at the table, Perry. Wouldn't you agree that Jamaica today is gaining some respect on the global scene because of our the results we have had in our economic development, etc. Wouldn't you agree that the country is gaining some respect? I don't know if you recall, Mr. Perry, when former Finance Minister Peter Phillips went to Washington and came back to say that he wished no finance minister after him would have to go through the indignity of being on the menu where people determine and decide what you have to deal with. That's not sovereignty, Perry.
I agree with you, Neighbor, that today we have seen a significant improvement as to how international relations is taking place. But what I won't agree with, Neighbor, is that the PNP had nothing to do with it.
No. I'm not speaking about whether the PNP had nothing to do with it. What I'm saying to you is that Jamaica's position today in the world is more respected than it was, 2 decades ago. It's not true.
Well, I mean, that's fair. That's a fair assessment.
It's not a fair assessment. It is the truth. In other words, for example, over the last couple of months, Jamaica was able to secure a $6.7 billion loan in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, Perry.
But why?
Because we are at the table. If we are on the menu, we couldn't get that. That's the point I'm making. And this is why I really want us to forget the party politics here and speak about where Jamaica is. Because as I said previously, slogans don't bring us here, Perry. It's not slogans that do it. It is leadership. Right?
Well,
and I know you don't support you have your party that you support. But I want my listeners to understand that Jamaica today is gaining the respect in the international community because we are no longer beggars. Okay? When you bring your debt to GDP down to below 70%, it was heading to 60%. The international community see you as being able to pay your debt. And they will respect you. When you are broke and pauperized and begging, you don't gain the respect of lenders, Mr. Perry.
Yes, but wouldn't you agree, Mr. Neighbor, that in the past we've seen the works of the likes of, and I'm sure Harry can agree too, we saw Omar Davis dropping debt to GDP to the lowest that we've ever seen in the history of Jamaica. We have to give some credit where credit is due. So I'm not disagreeing with you, that Jamaica is at a place where we can engage international communities and get big loans. But we have to look at the come up. And a part of the come up is that for a period in time, the People's National Party also contributed to fiscal discipline. Yes, some of those policies were harsh, but we saw where Jamaica was able to end relationships with IMF for a time. And it was the PNP who should get credit for that too. So yes, we are able to get big loans, but it is very important, Mr. Neighbour, that we don't disregard the hard work of the People's National Party.
Well, you know, sir.
Well, Perry,
all right, go ahead, Harry.
would you praise somebody who created a disaster that mops it up?
From
or
what
attempts to do so?
All right. So I get why you asked me. I'm gonna ask you. I'm gonna tell you why I understand your question, but why I have a little bit of problem with it. So yes, I know persons are going to say it is PNP who caused the issue in the first place. So them coming.
No. I'm not broad brushing it as PNP. I'm narrowing it down to Omar Davis.
So you're saying he basically so you're narrowing it down to basically Omar Davis created some problems and he, for the most part, attempted to fix it. So you're saying you're asking me if I should give him credit for it. But look at it this way, Harry. It would have been worse if the man didn't attempt to even alleviate some of the problems that we experienced. Wouldn't that have been a worse off scenario?
I wouldn't say it would have been a worse off scenario because the end result defines what it is. Right? You create a mess, right? One that would have wrecked a country who was in a decent moment for a period of time. And in an attempt to, I'd want to say, to kind of take a little shame out of the eyes and out of your face, you attempt to do so. Remember, Perry, he lauded himself as the best finance minister while being fiscally irresponsible for the best period in the modern history of the Western Hemisphere, right? And as such, I can tell you a lot of the things that had to be done were automatic. So, for example, I know persons from your party and so on celebrated the monetary policies and so on in 2012 under Miss Simpson Miller, right? Mrs. Simpson Miller. But the truth is, we're still, and that was the last time actually we were on the menu, because those terms and agreements were actually non-negotiable, right? We didn't have an input in those terms and agreement. We needed the money, not wanted, we needed. And while we needed it, it was a little bit better situation than in the 90s where we had to be borrowing to fix our budget, to actually meet our budgetary means at that significantly, almost every year in the 90s, right? And as such, that in its entirety was as a causation of us for a few decades stuck on the menu, failing in moments that we should have been better. And also that falls at the feet of poor management and leadership.
So what you're basically saying then, Harry, that Omar Davis did nothing to benefit the country nor the Caribbean? Wasn't his blueprint that the Caribbean modeled in terms of financial responsibility? All of these things are available on the internet. So you give Omar Davis no credit, Harry?
I would not give somebody the credit. I'll not be hypocrite and play the safe, pretty game when it comes on to that individual because of what he was an architect behind, right? That in itself, and you remember the article, I sent you the link to read, and you'd see why my position is this strong. Probably the only time you'll hear my position this strong on a political matter. Because for me, apart from that article, I have inside information that I will not necessarily share. It may come out a little, but I know the inroads of that time. While I would have been a toddler, I know individuals who would have experienced it. And the thing about it, Perry, I think it's hypocritical to be praising somebody who created the very situation. If the person didn't create it, then we wouldn't have to have it in the first place. We wouldn't have had our backs against the wall for decades, ruining generations, right?
Harry,
And
I
that
don't
for
want.
me is
I didn't want to interrupt.
Go
But
ahead.
what did Omar Davis create, though? I'm keep on hearing that Omar Davis did something. There was a global financial crisis, and I think this may go into FinSac again, But there was a global financial crisis that was affecting countries all over the world.
In what year?
Hold on, Perry. Hold on. Perry, you have your facts a little mixed up here, sir. The period of the 90s saw global economic expansion in almost every country except Jamaica. As a matter of fact, one of the mystery of the 90s was that the global economy was expanding so much and Jamaica was in decline. Isn't that so, Harry?
Somebody said that Omar Davis.
Hold on, Perry. Hold on, Perry. Is that so, Mr. Harry?
That what?
It was.
Hold on, Perry. Isn't it true that in the 90s we saw global economic expansion in a lot of countries, including the United States, and Jamaica was struggling? Wasn't that part of the mystery?
It is, because the funny thing with it is that we had technically the resources we needed. There was a boom with bauxite. We were practically positioned the best we had for a while, but we just never ever got the job done.
But Harry, the financial meltdown started from 1970
No. Hold on, there, Mr.
Oh, no, Perry. No, Perry.
Hold on. Go ahead, Harry.
Perry, that meltdown didn't start in the 70s, right? And I'd love for you to research it as well, because that's why I sent the article to you. You see that thing they call the deregulation? It was something Edward Siaga begged not to happen. Literally came out publicly and begged for it not to be done. And he was ignored. He was actually one of the persons who they seem as if he didn't know anything. And he was still one of the best finance ministers we've had, right, in that time. And the truth is, you can, when you read the article, and that article is actually right? So it's not us saying what we think. It was somebody who was directly a part of it, Perry. Played a role. He was one of the head and buckle washers in the private sector that called for it, who fast-tracked it as well. And after they saw what happened, that article came up because he was what? He was upset. I mean, hindsight is 2020, because they thought it would have worked. And they didn't consult anybody else. Because the thing about it, when you deregularize a country and don't do it in phases, Perry, you have problems. And that is something I've seen for Jamaica. We don't accept things being done in phases. So when you do things in phases, you can nip certain things in the bud and you can correct it before it gets worse. But when you do this one big chop and don't have the full backing, the full understanding of it, then you have serious issues. And that's what we saw specifically between 1990 and 95, where our inflation went from 40% all the way to a high as 80%. And that's not me saying the numbers. Those are the numbers, right? Money was coming into Jamaica, of course, a lot of money from private investors overseas. Because what happened was that our interest rate was so high, locals couldn't stomach it. Businesses died because of that.
Yes, Harry, I get the FinSac analogy, but to say that Omar Davis...
You realize, hold on, Perry. You realize I didn't mention FinSac itself? I'm speaking of just the deregulation. And that is the thing I think a lot of people... Hold on. I think that is what a lot of persons, what I've seen, comrades and so on, once that moment comes up, they narrow it down to just FinSac. I'm not narrowing it down to FinSac. FinSac is a byproduct, but it's a baby compared to what totally happened. This money that came into Jamaica didn't drive any form of productivity. There was no production whatsoever. What happened? Persons were getting, right, converting the US dollar to Jamaican, getting some 30, 40, 50% return on their money. And that money left Jamaica back
Yes.
to the foreign accounts. Even with that foreign conversion, Perry, they were ahead of the rest of the world by some 20% returns. So imagine that. While Jamaica still had to be borrowing to just barely meet its budget. That's what got us in the position. So I will not give Omar Davis praise to try and correct something that he created. He created a monster, and I can't praise somebody for that, Perry.
I will disagree with people who say that Omar Davis started FinSac. I don't agree with that. That's the first thing. Secondly,
Perry, I'm not going to get past that. I've never said that.
Yeah, you didn't say that. I saw some laborers saying that Omar Davis started FinSac. That for me is incorrect, and I won't stand by that. What I'm trying to get at though is if it is a case where somebody is trying as the finance minister, because over 500 persons, the archives at the unit, there are archives there, I'm sure you probably know of it, where over 500,000 people received back money through the whole process in trying to mitigate what's happening. And nobody seeks to talk about those things. Nobody talks about how the debt to GDP was reduced under Omar Davis. Nobody wants to talk about the Caribbean using him as a model when it comes to financial management and accountability. Nobody wants to give the man any credit at all. And I think that is not right. It's almost like you're saying, Harry, that, all right, do you think that the Prime Minister is a perfect man?
Nobody is perfect, Perry.
Nobody is perfect, Harry. And wouldn't you think that any reasonable Jamaican could appreciate a minister in trying to fix an issue? Whether we want to pinpoint an issue on ARB, the aim of the Minister of Finance is there to correct financial issues. I cannot believe we would really not give Omar Davis no credit at all with the type of work that he did.
You know why he doesn't deserve it, Perry? You know why he doesn't deserve it? He knew what was being done, right? He knew what was being done. But my thing is, if you look at the magnitude of what was created compared to what you're mentioning, it is peanuts to where and what impact it had on the country. And for me, I will not be giving somebody credit by clutching at straws, by reaching for minuscule things compared to the magnitude of a disaster that was created with him for decades. And that for me, I can't just ignore something that is larger, that's grandeur in a negative sense, to just nitpick at one or two things that had to be automatically done. And that for me is not a fair assessment overall. That would be me disregarding somebody opening a wound and putting a band-aid over it, Perry. A wound that needs ER operation immediately. You're going to put a band-aid over it. That is what you're describing to me, if I'm supposed to give Omar Davis credit for something like that.
I wouldn't say it's a band-aid though, but I understand your reasoning. But I think, as we know, that Jamaica has seen high times and low times. My thing though, Harry, is that the entire period, and again, one could even argue that through the relationship between Jamaica and even the IMF, you cannot make it seem as if the discipline that we see today, or we would like to give credit to an administration today, wasn't because of those very harsh policies that we had in the past. And again, economics will tell you this: there's a trail that you must follow. And my thing, Harry, is that the PNP in the past, they made some very harsh decisions, and it brought Jamaica to a point. And I will always say this, Harry, the Prime Minister did not get an economy that was under the water. The Prime Minister, Andrew Holness, he got an economy that was above the water due to the very, proper management and the policies that the PNP implemented.
what would you call underwater? So I think this is subjective in a Perry. Because my thing is, and you would know, the People's National Party was the one who always said not to ever go back to IMF. In fact, they blamed IMF on the Jamaica Labour Party. Almost every administration. They painted it in an extremely bad light, as if it wasn't their mismanagement. And it's not me just, tit for tat. This is me going back for the facts and where they are, because they said, looking at the trails, right? And as such, because of the consequences of those times, poor management, poor regulations, and so on, for me in itself, the reason why I'd say you can say we were maybe above waters was because of what IMF did for us in 2012. And again, I'm going to point it out. It is something, those policies, right? Because I understand those policies, and I'll break it down for the listeners.
Yes, they were.
Those policies, hold on. Those policies, for example, helped our stock market, but it wasn't policies for the government. Those were international monetary policies as terms and agreement that we had no input in, which lays back to what Neighbour in the Neighbour's notes were saying. We were very much on the menu at that time. And I'm saying that was the last time we were ever on the menu. And I'm hoping, based on the guardrails that will be coming throughout this term and so on, maybe beyond, can protect us from ever being back on the menu. Because we're now in a moment where it is a big monument for us. Right? I know we're not talking about the crime. We had poor economical situation. Crime was skyrocketing. But nobody wants to give the what I'd say the economical master stroke contribution. They don't want to praise it, because that is one of the biggest things that helped us to be where we are.
What's that, Harry?
Right? The investments that are coming in, right, is as a result of that being done. Because you and I both know, Perry, that crime crippled Jamaica.
Yes.
And you may not know, but there's one political party that benefited heavily from it. I'm not saying parties don't have affiliations, right? But I can tell you specifically, and I won't go down the road, but I can tell you they're very much tied to it, which was as an incentive not to get crime under where it's supposed to be. And this is something in this new age we're seeing, where political parties have moved away from that aspect. It is no longer a neck hold and a deciding factor. Hence why we are able to do the number that we're doing and looking to increase in terms of it being better going forward. Because all of these investments, I can tell you, Perry, that is coming in from Middle East, India, all around the world, right? Not just the Western Hemisphere. We had to do this. We had to get our economy right. We had to be fiscally responsible.
Yeah.
And sad to say, you sitting on the other side, right? Because I'm always going to be neutral. You sitting on the other side cannot boast well when it comes on to real fiscal management and fiscal discipline. Because growing up for me, this is the only administration I've seen that is able to have a country understanding what fiscal management is and abiding to it to a large extent.
Harry, we've seen reduction in crime under the JLP administration and under the PNP administration. I'm not going to sit here, Harry, and hear people always talk about, yes, crime went down and crime go down.
Okay.
Crime went down.
With respect, this debate, you see, is politically biased, and it is not factual. Jamaica, for much of the 2000s, the hand that helped place Jamaica on the menu was Omar Davies.
Exactly.
Hold on, you want to cut before you come. And the record speaks for itself. Omar Davies pursued policies in Jamaica that kept Jamaica on the menu. Firstly, Mr. Perry, under the leadership of Omar Davis, Jamaica's fiscal path became a corridor of dependence. Spending outpaced growth, borrowing replaced investment, and deficits were chronic, not accidental. The implications of that, sir, you know, Scratchy, maybe I'm going to because I don't have a lot of time here. Let me get to Scratchy, and then I get to John. Wrap up with Perry. If we're not at the table, we're on the menu. Joshua, I see Scratchy is on a break. Hello.
Greetings, sir. Greetings.
Chime in, sorry.
Greetings, Perry. How are you?
Greetings, Joshua. That's a powerful.
That's a powerful what?
That's a power. Your name is a powerful name.
Thank you, sir. I hope that the God that I serve, that I serve him in the right way so that I can walk in his power.
Yes.
You know, those who are baptized in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ ought to know better that truth represents who the Lord is. It says he's the way, the truth, and the life. Right, Perry?
Amen, Pastor Joshua.
No, Minister Perry, I know you and you know me. It's just that you don't know who you're talking to. Right? Now, we are brothers. It's just that one of our brothers have gone astray, following after lies. But let us reason in love, my brother. I hear you talking a lot of things that are far from the truth, my brother, and I'm speaking to you in love about this matter. Let us start. This is from Google. The Financial Sector Adjustment Company, FinSAC, was established in January 1997 by the People's National Party's government of Jamaica, led by Prime Minister P.J. Patterson and Finance Minister Dr. Omar Davis. Right? That is one. Right? Now, let us move on further. Another one from Google. Based on widely circulated reports and public discourse regarding the 1990s Jamaica financial crisis, Mark Golding is often identified as having served as an advisor to the then Minister of Finance, Dr. Omar Davies. Let us move on further. You said something that I also want to correct. In the 1990s, the world economy was defined by rapid globalization, the post-Cold War expansion of free markets, and a technology-driven boom. So when you say that in the 1990s, the world economy was suffering, we are now proving that this is false. It featured low inflation, declining unemployment, dropping to 4% in the US by 2000, and robust growth, often called a golden era. Notice the term, the golden era, which means that it was doing so good that the Western world was the envy of the rest of the world in terms of economic boom. And finally, you mentioned about debt to GDP falling under Omar Davis. Again, this is false. Jamaica's debt to GDP ratio has experienced dramatic transformation, moving from over 100% and often over 140 for most of 1990 to 2015 period, to a record low of approximately 60 to 65% in 2024 to 2025. So everything you have said, I'm able to disprove it right here with the facts.
Well, Joshua, I think you're a bit mistaken.
One moment, my brother. Not me mistaken, unless you're...
I've been listening to you for quite some time. You have to give me an opportunity to explain what I said. Thank you. So the first thing that you have to, and you said that one of the brothers in Christ are misled, but I'm pretty sure it's not me. So Omar Davis inherited a high debt to GDP, right?
No, sir. That's false.
You have to allow me to speak, though, Joshua. You got that opportunity, and I listened to you. So Omar Davis, in his reports,
hold on, Perry.
Inherited.
I have to take a break. Hold on.
Listeners, could you please tap the screen and repost the live, please? Thank you.
my time for this is almost done. So hold on, Perry. I can't stay here all night, you know.
Yeah, I won't be long here, but he
Right.
went very long.
No, what I want you to do is to respond, and then I'm gonna give Joshua a chance to combat and Scratchy and Harry, and then we end there.
Yeah, man, no problem. Quickly.
Right.
So I know persons know that PJ was the listen, he inherited a high debt to GDP. By 2005, the debt to GDP was reduced to approximately 56%. That is on the same Google that you read from, Joshua. So it was the work of Omar Davis that brought the debt to GDP reducing to approximately 56%. And that was commendable, and that there's no argument in that. The next thing you mentioned was about FinSac. FinSac wasn't a problem. FinSac was a solution to a problem. And oftentimes, Joshua, my brother in the Lord, people talk about FinSac as if FinSac was intended to do something bad. So when I said that Omar Davis did not create FinSac, I'm not talking about the initiative FinSac. I'm talking about the problems that came during that period. All right. The next thing that you said was just two things. You said something else. I'm trying to remember. You mentioned something else about booming, the time that the golden era. My brother, citing two countries having a good economic time during that period is not a testament to what was happening on the global scene. If you understand basic international relations, during that time, several other countries were also experiencing turmoil in their economy, right? And some of that did impact Jamaica. So when I said that there was a difficult time during that period, I'm not being dishonest. I wouldn't come here and lie. So I'm just trying for you to understand that the strict policy management of Omar Davis, yes, I understand how some persons feel about him, but by 2005, this is facts, the debt to GDP was reduced to 56%. FinSac was...
Where you get that info from, Perry?
It's on Google.
No, allow him, Scratchy. Scratchy,
No, you can search
I have
it
a
out.
hammer waiting on him. I have a hammer waiting on him, Scratchy.
No,
Make him
but-
continue.
No, we can all Google it. It's there. it's there. It's there. I'm not making up. I can literally show. I'm reading from Google. So up and approximately 56% by 2000.
It's an article on Google from Omar Davis.
Oh, hold on, Scratchy. I have a hammer waiting on him, man. Let him finish.
No, man. No. Perry, I'll caution you to ensure that document
No,
is
man.
from...
I will cite my
Finance, eh?
source, Harry. Harry, I have a hammer waiting on him, and I will cite my source and prove him to be wrong. Don't let him finish.
Again, reading from what I've seen here. Again, FinSac wasn't the problem, and I'm happy somebody is saying that in the comments. FinSac wasn't the problem, ladies and gentlemen. And I know sometimes persons talk about FinSac as if the aim was to just rob people.
Yeah, but I don't know that we are talking about FinSac tonight, you know. What we are discussing is Jamaica being off the menu and on the table. And I don't know that the FinSac debate is something that I want to get into. I just want us to focus on what led us to be on the menu for so long, yes, and what we did to get off, and how we should not go back. Joshua.
Thank you, sir. Now, Mr. Perry in Christ, you know I love you, my brother, and I say this not to be token, not as a matter of tokenism, but I really mean it from my heart. But you are spewing falsehood, and it must be corrected. Now, from macro trend, you can read it for yourself. Macro trend and the IMF staff report. So two sources I'm citing for you to check. It says Jamaica's public debt to GDP ratio in 2005 was approximately 121% to 100.
Yes, to 127%. Yes.
Right? I'm citing two reputable sources, Macro Trend and IMF staff report. You can read them for yourself. In 2005 was 121 to 127%, indicating a very high debt burden during that period. Right?
Joshua, it increased after, you can't just read a part of the information, Joshua. I can't appreciate that.
Sir,
It
you,
increased
sir,
after.
you asked me to give you an opportunity to speak, and I was respectful. I'm not saying you're being disrespectful.
I'm not being disrespectful.
No. I can't
Yeah,
give you that.
let him finish now, Perry. Let him.
I
All right,
can't
let
give
him
you
finish.
that name, but
Let him
you
finish.
cited 2005. Now I am now citing the same year that you gave, not a different year, and I'm citing two reputable sources that are not colluding. Macrotrade out of Atlanta and IMF staff report. All right, and this is the 2005 to 2006 fiscal year indicated public debt to GDP ratio of 127.3%. And it goes into details giving you more, right? Now, Neighbour asked a very critical question, right? And you have sought to put the benefit and of the decline in debt to GDP at the feet of the PNP. That also is false. That started under Bruce Golding when he started the fiscal responsibility framework, right? And he introduced it around 2010, right? And he strengthened it over time. And it was designed to ensure macroeconomic stability and debt sustainability and economic growth. That's where it began, even though you guys tried to place it squarely at the feet of Omar Davis, which he doesn't deserve any credit for. I will not even say maybe. Omar Davis was a failure, and you said that people, the rest of the Caribbean, copied him. Nobody copied anything from Omar Davis. In fact, the first time we heard about negative growth, which really is a euphemism for decline, was under Omar Davis. That was the first time we heard the term negative growth. There's no such thing as a negative growth.
Yeah.
You either decline or you grow. And that was the first time we ever heard the euphemism negative growth, and is when he could not explain to the Jamaican public why we continually had decline after decline. And you also stated falsely again that that we had a very high, yes, we had a high debt to GDP in 1989.
Hold on, Perry. Hold on, give me your time.
I never said you lied. I said it was false.
Yeah.
Right? Now, in 1989, when the PNP took over in February, it was debt to GDP was 105%, right? Which was climbing because at the time the hurricane of 1988 just came in, so it caused it to bump up a bit, just similarly to what happened here with Melissa, right? So after Melissa, our debt to GDP bumped up a little, but it would have leveled off by 1990. Mr. Siaga cautioned the then government, right? The new government that had taken over, not to pursue the free market route so quickly without having the necessary framework in place, right? But the government did not listen, and that is what brought us to where we were in terms of the high debt, the high unsustainable debt. So, sir, I would encourage you. I know you're very passionate, and I have no doubt that you are passionate about the country, but you're woefully misled. And I would encourage you, as a brother in Christ and as a fellow Jamaican, and as another male who I believe that you may love Jamaica, right, to go and do some independent research, independent of the party that you so robustly support, to do your own research and not to listen to them.
Let me ask quick question to move on, and I also want to prepare 2 quick things and move on.
So did debt reduce, Joshua? Because 2 things are happening at the same time, because I'm reading from the same Minister of Education report, because Omar Davis had an interview done. He had a report. I'm not sure if you've seen that. And there are several questions asked to Mr. Omar Davis. And simultaneously, Joshua, there are 2 things happening. I didn't refute you saying that the debt to GDP went up, but did it reduce to 56% approximately at any point in time?
You said 2005. No time in 2005.
Absolutely not.
No time in 2005.
Absolutely not. You know,
Perry, to prove the point, Perry, in 2004, there was a Hurricane Ivan, devastation on Jamaica. So there's no way after a hurricane like that, Jamaica economy would have 56% of GDP in 2004. And Mr. Perry, I think you should retract that statement for misleading neighbor rights then.
But I'm reading from what the sources are saying.
No, you're reading from 89 Hope Road.
Sir.
That's what you're reading from.
Omar Davis was a charlatan.
You're reading from a document from Hope Road.
Omar Davis would speak of himself in glowing terms, but his speech and the facts were not in correlation with each other.
Sorry. Can I clear this up for Joshua, for the listeners? Did the debt to GDP at any time go as low as 57% as is suggested by Perry? Where is that information?
It's
The
right
data.
here. It's right here.
Hold on. Where is that information coming from?
Perry said that in 2005. We don't see that. That's nowhere. That was 127% in 2005, neighbor.
Yes. Hello.
Share the link. Share the link to me.
2005, the same time,
TikTok.
the same year, neighbor, Jamaica was branded as the murder capital of the world.
We ever had a debt to GDP at 57%? In what year, Perry?
So I'm going to read.
No,
said
let's pause the program and confirm that. No,
No, man, we can search it up, man.
Hold on.
Perry, send it to me. Send it to me. I can pull it up right now. So send it to me.
Let's pause the striking program and
We were at some
Yeah,
point,
man,
somewhere in the 60s or at one point in time in the earlier 90s, but no, we were 56% in 2005.
Trusted world.
The faculty and they're just broad
All right,
basic.
then we're gonna confirm that. Hold on, dear listeners. Let's figure this out here. We don't want no.
Harry, I'm going to send you right now.
Hold on. All right, let's clear that up, and before we move on, let's clear it. Yeah,
That's common sense. That's common sense, neighbor. Everybody know that Jamaica debt-to-GDP could not be 56%. That's common sense.
Anyways, as the source says,
Hold
Harry.
on, Perry.
No,
Hold on.
I'm just telling Harry that I sent it to him.
Okay.
Yes, so you can check it.
All right, great.
All right.
Because, it's there. It's clear as day. Yeah.
Joshua, you were saying something?
Yes, sir. So I Googled again and I asked, has Jamaica ever had debt to GDP of 57% in its history? That's how wide I Googled. It says, yes, Jamaica's debt to GDP ratio has fallen to and below 57% in its history, specifically during periods before the rapid debt accumulation of the 90s. Not during the 90s, before.
Could never.
All right, so Harry is going to read. Harry is going. I'm laughing, neighbor, but Harry will read exactly what I sent him, and he can just confirm.
And Mr. Perry, earlier on, Mr. Perry, you said that we're not giving Mr. Omar Davis any form of credit. Mr. Perry, did Portia Simpson give Omar Davis any credit?
As I said, what is his name? Who is it? Scratchy?
Yeah, did Portia Simpson give Omar Davis credit?
As I said before to you, Scratchy, Harry is gone to do the reading.
Different thing that we're talking about. Did the IMF give Omar Davis credit? Did the World Bank give Omar Davis credit? Mr. Perry, Mr. Omar Davis was finance minister for how long? How long was Mr. Omar Davis the finance minister of Jamaica?
Scratchy, if you don't want to give Omar Davis any credit, it's fine. Yes,
no, I'm just showing you that Mr. Omar Davis was a dismal failure because not for the problem that we are going through right now. Because if Mr. Omar Davis was so good as you come and talk about Perry,
I did not make
listen
it.
to Perry.
I didn't say
When the
Omar
PNP
was
formed
perfect,
back government, when the PNP formed back government in 2011, late 2011, early 2012, the PNP could never put back Omar Davis nowhere near the Minister of Finance. No financial organization around the world, no multilateral agency around the world, no local economist, no one wanted to see about that guy at the Ministry of Finance. If he was so good, why were multilateral agencies telling us and telling the government at the time that don't put back this man nowhere near the government kitty? Omar Davis was a failure, Perry, man.
Nobody came and made it seem as if Omar Davis was a knight in shining armor. All I'm simply saying is that during his 14-year tenure, there were fluctuations in the debt to GDP. That is not me guessing. That is facts. It was fluctuating, and that's what I was telling Joshua, that nobody is misled. But you cannot be one-sided with the facts. There were fluctuations during the man's tenure.
Tap the screen, please.
That's also true.
All right, so we're getting some information here.
Yes.
Coming up.
Harry can read it. Harry's supposed to find it.
Give us a second. Very important.
Sorry, I think it's
Yes,
right.
Harry, you read what I sent you, right? Marcia, fluctuating means going up or going down. Fluctuating is not just in one direction. Fluctuating can go up and down. Let us define the terms and understand what we're saying here.
Listeners,
Well, Mr.
please
Perry.
tap the screen.
My common sense, Perry, seem to tell me that Jamaica had a major hurricane in 2004, Hurricane Ivan. So if 2005 Jamaica economy was 56% GDP, that would have showed me that Jamaica GDP was way less than 50% then. Because I would expect a Hurricane Ivan push up the GDP. So I don't see how Jamaica was 56%. Mr. Perry, no point in time that
You can confirm what I sent if it is true. Yes, Harry, suppose. Yes.
I think
All right.
you I think
all right,
you
Harry,
misread
Harry?
the article, Perry.
Harry? Well, I've just been sent the debt to GDP for the last 20 years. So in 1990,
You hearing me, neighbor?
I'm hearing you.
Yeah, Harry got it, my neighbor. Go ahead, Harry.
Go ahead. Okay.
Perry, I think you've misread the article, Perry. And that's fine. External debt is not debt to GDP. That's a difference, right? So let me read the section. It says the stock of public and publicly guaranteed external debt stood at 364.6 billion, which is 5.567 million US at the end of March 2006. This represents an increase of 17.5% compared with the stock of 310.4 billion at the end of 2005.
That's not what I said.
In US terms, hold on, Perry. In US terms, the external debt rose. Perry, that's what is in the document, Perry.
No, that's not what I
screenshot,
sent you.
Right? Hold on, Perry. This was due to increases in both central government and government guaranteed debt. As a percentage of GDP, the external debt remained relatively flat at 56.6% at the end of the financial year 05-06, compared with the 56.5% at the end of the year 04-05. External debt is not debt to GDP.
So you read what I sent you? Harry,
I took the screenshot. You want me to go back? Go back feet again?
All right. Harry.
Yes, neighbor.
Please explain to the listeners what debt to GDP means.
Hold on, neighbor, are you hearing me?
I am hearing you loud and clear, man. I don't know.
Hold on, I'm getting a feedback from my end.
Oh, wow. No.
All right. Hearing me clear? Yeah, I think I'm hearing you good now, neighbor.
Yeah, debt to GDP. Tell us what that means.
Right. So the debt to GDP, it really measures a country's, or in terms of the government, debt against its economic output, right? Which is, we know is a major indicator of how a country is being governed. Now, when we look at that, what we read, Perry, that 56 that you're mentioning is actually not debt to GDP. That is actually external debt itself.
Hold on there, Harry. In 1990, who was prime minister? Who was in power?
People's National Party, and PJ Patterson was the finance minister at the time.
The debt to GDP was 138.74. In 1991, who was prime minister? 1991.
91, PJ Patterson took over.
Debt to GDP was 232.83%. 1992.
Remained as PJ Patterson as the prime minister, and Omar Davis got minister of finance.
The debt to GDP was 123.61%, which means that the debt to GDP fell from 91 to 92, but in 93 it was 121, 94, it was 94%. 95, 83%. 1996, it was 72. 1997, it was 73%. 1998, 81%. 1999, 88%. 2000, it was 98%. In 2001, who was Prime Minister in 2001?
Patterson.
117, 202, 127, 203, 127, 204, 122, 205, 121, 206, 117. 207 is when the elections were held? Yes, sir. October. The debt to GDP when the JLP took power was 112, 113% in 2007. It climbed under the Labour Party, yeah, and in 2016 when Holness took it, it was 115.89%.
And it climbed on the Labour Party neighbor as a result of the global recession.
That needs a little adjustment, neighbor. It wasn't 115, I think it was 127 when
in 2016.
Yes.
Huh?
Well, neighbor, when you finish, neighbor, I'll give the listeners an understanding between external debt and debt to GDP.
Go ahead, do that now.
Okay, so the external debt is actually the total money that a country owes to its lenders.
To foreigners.
Right. To foreign lenders.
Specifically foreign lenders.
Yeah. And I just explain what debt to GDP is. So, Perry, the article that you sent was speaking of external debt, not the actual debt to GDP.
So can we hear Mr. Perry conceding?
So we're saying that Omar Davis failed. There's no good.
Miserably.
No. Hold on. Let's be clear. So there was no point under the leadership of the PNP that the debt was 57%. No point.
So Omar Davis for you guys is the reason.
Hold on, Perry. We get past that. I just want to be clear with the listeners.
Yes, he was the reason why 22% poverty rate was in Jamaica, Perry. He was the reason why Red Stripe had to pay public service workers, public sector workers. He was the reason why police had to take taxi upon crime scene.
That's not scratchy. That's not true, scratchy.
No, that is actually true.
Perry,
that is actually true.
Perry, really? Police just have to take taxi upon crime scene.
Where do you get that information from?
Boy, you're so engrossed in painting that you can't search independently.
That's not true, scratchy.
It is true. It is very true.
All right. Do we have Harry back yet? I wanna clear this up. Hello, Harry. Are you back?
Is there anything that I could help with Neighbour? The difference between debt to GDP and external debt? Was that what you wanted?
No. I wanted. He has a document there that Perry sent him. That he was.
Oh, look in our chat, neighbor. I sent it in our chat as well.
Just yeah, man. I saw it. I just want to be clear that Perry was not reading from the document properly when he said that the debt to GDP fell to 57%. That was not correct, right?
That was actually external debt.
Okay, so I wanted Mr. Perry to concede that not an embarrassment, Perry, just a misread, right?
Go again, neighbor.
You weren't misleading, you misread.
No, I wouldn't mislead the public, man.
Right, no, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that. So you did not mislead them. You just mistakenly read that, right?
So what I read and I sent it to
We were misled. We might say we were not intentionally misled, but we were misled.
Yes.
May I read just
before you move on, Joshua? Because this is what the debate is about. So you are conceding, Perry, that this is just you misread that, eh?
So the article that Harry got, yeah, man, the external debt is definitely different from the debt to GDP.
Fine. So the listeners are clear. That's all. That's all. No problem. Great.
Perry, I don't know why you're switching the Perry. You would be a good labor right, you know. I don't know why you're switching.
I was never a laborer.
Perry, I know better than that.
Yeah, you ever attended the labor right function? You ever attended the JLP function, Perry?
Mr. Neighbour, I was never a laborer. Don't make them.
Perry, have you ever attended any JLP function?
Perry,
Hold on, Neighbour, turn that down my answer. Never answer.
Perry, I can tell you even where you come from.
I can tell you where I was. Let me tell you where I was.
No, I can tell you where you even come from because I know
you attended any JLP function?
So the man not gonna tell you, Scratchy. Let me tell you, I was invited to perform, Mr. Neighbour, at a JLP concert, right? And I was paid to perform. I have never voted for JLP before. I've never voted for JLP before. Why you laughing, Scotty? I've never voted for JLP before. And yes, I've been at meetings, but I was never a laborer. Don't tell anybody that.
Do you know Kids in Town? Do you know Kids in Town, Perry?
Of course.
How do you know Kids in Town?
I wish not to disclose that here.
Well, I tell you that I know you.
That doesn't mean I'm a laborer. Joshua, how can you prove to me that I was?
All right. So let me get back to the conversation so that we don't stray. Just to give you information that you can tap into, there are media reports indicating that some point in time, police officers in Jamaica have had to use taxis to respond to emergencies and crime scenes due to transportation shortages. Specifically, a Jamaica Gleaner article from February 2023 reported that police officers in the Frankfield division of Clarendon were forced to hail taxis to respond to emergency calls.
That's right.
This is not a myth. This is reality under the PNP.
I witnessed that firsthand myself.
I've
police
never
coming
witnessed
out of taxis with big book in them hand and pen.
I'm speaking for myself.
If you want me to read further, it says resource shortages despite investment. Key details regarding this situation include resource shortages and despite investment in service vehicles, shortages force officers to rely on public transportation. That is part of the report. This is not a myth. This is the life under the PNP. So this is in relation to the very topic that Neighbour is discussing now. I don't want to stray from it, but Mr. Perry, it's not that we are opposed to our fellow Jamaicans who so happens to be PNP. What we're opposed to is the policies that the PNPs pursue, which has always been detrimental to Jamaica.
Always, Joshua?
Always.
You can't say that, Joshua. You can't say that.
I did, my brother. I did.
No. You can't say that. So the PNP has done no good for this country.
Perry, we're not going to do that part, Perry. We're not
no,
going to
that's
do
what
that.
Joshua is saying.
No.
That's what Joshua is saying.
No, that's not what Joshua is saying, Perry.
No, but that's Joshua, answer me, Joshua. PNP has done no good for the country.
That's not what I said, sir. That's not what I said.
So you'll give PNP some credit.
Right. Hold on, Perry. What we're saying, right, on the topic is the People's National Party placed us for a good 3 decades
on the menu,
and not at the table.
Yes.
Boy, I wouldn't forgive me, but I wouldn't say that. I think.
But when were we? No, hold on, Perry. When were we ever at the table
with the PNP?
Yes.
You mentioned the 4 years of Portia.
I said, Perry, that the former finance minister said. Did you know this, Perry, that there were negotiations taking place in Washington? As a matter of fact, there was a particular state lady that had to call to beg for Jamaica's case to be considered outside of the IMF. And when the Minister of Finance went there with his team, the minister was humiliated.
Neighbor, if I may add to what you just said, one of the jokes that they had in Washington, and yes. I can tell you where to find it Perry, The Economist magazine, one of the major jokes that they had in Washington was, has Jamaica failed yet?
Yes, as a matter of fact, they were expecting it to be a catastrophic collapse. And Peter Phillips said it. I'm going to find that interview and play it,
Neighbor.
Right
around the world. Around the world, we were being called close to becoming the Greece of the West.
Yes.
That's how bad it was, Perry.
And did the haircut that Bruce Golding orchestrated, wasn't that tantamount to a default?
It was.
Yeah, JDX 1 and 2.
It was.
What is Mr. Perry? What is Mr. Perry talking about? When did the PNP have Jamaica at the table?
Yeah, but PNP did not go negotiating on behalf of Jamaica and make it look like we could have risen on our own like we have done now. PNP was negotiating for debt write-off, neighbor. That's what PNP was hunting for, debt write-off.
Yeah.
And the IMF was saying that no way we can give you guys that.
And Scratchy, when the Prime Minister Holness went to Mandible and spoke about bitter medicine, what was he talking about?
He was talking about what was to come, neighbor. He was talking about the economic situation that we were in, neighbor. And the PNP laugh and rallied and use it against him to win the election. Neighbor. Yes. They laugh at him, neighbor. And neighbor, the then Prime Minister who won that election promised us an IMF deal in 2 weeks.
Well, she was out of her depth.
She promised us an IMF deal in 2 weeks, neighbor. And it took us so long to get that IMF deal. And neighbor, that IMF deal that Jamaica came out with, neighbor, was one of the most austerity IMF deal in the history of IMF. Yes, I know we're paying for it. We put tax party.
In fact, I'm going to show you the result of what PNP did. And let me show you, Perry, and I want you to objectively research these information. The Highway 2000 that was built, we borrowed money from France. They built the highway, got a 50-year concession to run the highway, guaranteed every June a 20% increase. And if there is a default in terms of the amount that they expect, the Jamaican government guaranteed them that they would pay the difference if there's a difference. In addition to that, we owed JPS $7 billion, which is $700 million, when this government took over from the PNP. That's where the PNP brought the country to, right? And everything was done, Mr. Perry, believe it. We're not trying to be hard on the PNP. It is a reality. And good conscience demand that we be honest in our discourse.
Perry knew that in the 90s, people had to eat nutritious bull and meal for lunch.
But Joshua, scratchy on neighbor. I think what I'd put to Perry is looking for as the next generation, Perry. All right. How do you think we can maintain a seat at the table now, being that we've finally moved from the menu?
Why you believe we moved from the menu, though?
What?
I'm asking.
Oh, come on, Perry. What type of nonsensical question is that? What do you mean, why you believe we move from the menu?
Not because we could get a lot of money in loan, Mr. Neighbor. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're off the menu, to be honest,
Did you listen? Did you? I
3.5% reduction in unemployment, Perry.
All right, so
8% poverty rate coming from over 20%, Mr. Perry.
I just did, Mr. Neighbor, to be very honest, I saw some financial accomplishments by the PNP, and I cannot say that PNP has done nothing for Jamaica. And I'm not saying this because I'm a PNP supporter. I think it's unfair to say that PNP has done nothing to benefit.
Perry, you come back with that same rhetoric, and we're saying we're not saying that. We're saying it is under them that we were placed on the menu. And I'm saying, this is my view, that whatever gains you will allude to is minuscule to the disaster that was created. The cons outweighs the pros, Perry. And that is
Good evening,
facts.
everybody. Good evening.
And Harry,
thank you.
While we were on the menu,
hold on.
While we were on the menu, neighbor, we weren't have any nutritional value. We never have no vitamins. We never had nothing. We weren't even being eaten. We were being pushed aside. People didn't even want to see us on the menu when we were on the menu.
Let me ask a quick question, neighbor. Perry keep on saying what the PNP has done, I know your father is a good father, so let me take him out of it. But I'm just going to make reference to father of Mr. Perry. If your father was not living at home and he visited you 3 times per year, and yet he lived in the same community, and just give you money and leave, wouldn't you have said that he contributed to your life? Yes or no?
Yes, he contributed.
But would you call him a good father and only come and see you 3 times per year?
It will be based on the circumstances, though.
No, I'm asking you this simple question. Would you call him a good father and he had opportunity to come and visit you more often?
So if he had opportunity to come and spend more time with me and he didn't, then I wouldn't say he was a great father. But the
PNP had opportunity to do better with Jamaica, and that is how they treated Jamaica.
But there were different context matters, though, Joshua. There were a lot of things happening.
Neighbor, over to you, neighbor. Sorry.
All right. Good evening. Good evening, caller. Hold on. Good evening, sir.
Yeah. Good evening, if I may.
Hold on, sir. Is it your first time here?
It is actually.
Please
Thank you for being
here.
Hold
on, please. Please observe the rules, sir, and conduct yourself with decorum. Okay, please.
I don't know the rules. Please tell me them.
Well, the rules are that your conduct will determine how long you stay up.
Oh, okay. That's not a problem. I don't intend to stay long because I'm at work.
Okay.
Don't intend to stay long, so you intend to be disrespectful then?
No.
You should say don't intend to be disrespectful or rude.
Hello, neighbor. The rules. No? The rules?
About the rules
because that was absolutely uncalled for. No? You don't think so?
Excuse me, sir. I am
saying, sir. You said you intend to stay long.
You have joined someone's space for the first time, and I'm just taking the time to explain to you that here we expect you to conduct yourself in a way that befits the decorum of the program. Not a problem.
All right.
Go ahead.
Yeah, man, it's not a problem. So I would hope for just maybe 30 seconds or less. I'll preface my thoughts with this. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion, but never their own facts. It is, in fact,
you are quoting something there that baby, it's too late. What are you talking about, sir? Where you get?
I'm talking about
where you get that statement from.
I am talking about
where you get that from.
It is a quote.
From who?
It doesn't matter who it's from.
Well, you can't quote something. No, man, come now. You can't quote something that you don't know where it come from. So you repeat it.
That don't make sense what you say. People quote people all the time. You don't necessarily have to be.
No, that you are plagiarizing. And I'm asking you if you know where that quote came from.
Tell me where it's from, hello neighbor.
But
I do, but tell me where it's from. Because it don't matter. I am trying to make a point, and you're just stalling.
No.
Will you allow me to make the point?
Yeah, I'm going to allow you. I'm asking you, sir.
But what is the reason for stalling? Just allow me to make the point.
Oh, you still stalling? No, I'm not stalling.
All right, so Daniel Patrick said that quote.
Oh, okay, there you go. Go ahead.
Daniel Patrick, but I'm wondering why is he allowing?
Then why you didn't just say it?
Why you say didn't know? Why you say didn't know?
Say it. Just say it, man. Go ahead.
Come on, man. Aren't we all supposed to be Jamaicans discussing the betterment of Jamaica here?
But sir, come now. Just go ahead. You are stalled now.
Thank you. So as I said, I was listening to you guys, and you all made some comments in relation to what happened between the years of 2008 to 2013 thereabout. Primarily the issue in relation to the IMF and the people that went to the IMF and the deals that they took and what they went there for. And I'm confused because after the recession, Jamaica was locked out of the international market. And when the recession